Ogunlesi, welcome to I Weigh.
Hello, thank you for having me.
No, thank you for being here. So you are a self-love activist.
Yes.
And you are a confidence coach.
Yes.
And because of that, I really wanted you to come here and teach us all how to love ourselves a bit more.
Absolutely.
Can I ask you how you arrived at this? You have a company called Confident and Killing It.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get there?
So after I graduated from university, as always, there's so much pressure to like get a job. So I just got the first job that said yes to me. I think I applied for like 50 different jobs, like anywhere. And so the first job that said yes was an engineering company in Oxford. And so I was at uni in London, and then I decided to move to Oxford to this job. And then I had no interest in engineering whatsoever, and it was like a company that focused on like plastic caps and plugs and things that go into cars, and it was just like very, very boring. Like totally not me. Not many women at all. And I was the only black woman as well. And so after being there for like a year and a bit, I was getting like really depressed. I was like, I can't go on like this. And I was like, there needs to be something more than my life than just marketing caps and plugs to engineering companies. And so I decided to start volunteering just with the local church in the area, and I became a youth leader. So I would hang out with young girls aged 15 to 17 once a week and just kind of talk to them and just be a mentor kind of thing. And so I asked them to write down on a piece of paper what they wanted to get out of life. And there's about 20 girls in the room, and they all write it down. And I take the piece of paper home, and I'm super excited to see what they said. And I open the first one, and it's like, I wish I was more confident. And I'm like, okay, I can understand that. It's just one girl, it's fine. Second piece of paper, I wish I loved myself more. Third piece of paper, I wish I was more confident. Fourth piece of paper, I want to learn how to unleash my inner Beyonce. Fifth piece of paper, I want to be more confident. And every single piece of paper, 20 girls in the room, they did not know what each other was writing. And every single one of them said something about wanting to love themselves more and be more confident. Mm-hmm. And I literally just burst into tears on my living room floor, because I was like, how are we here again? Another generation of young, beautiful women growing up, not loving themselves and not being confident. And that is just not okay. I think society has normalized women hating themselves as like, that's just how it is. Get on with it.
Well, that's how women buy things. Women buy things to fix what they have been told is broken.
And so young girls and women are growing up not loving themselves. And I was like, this is not normal. And I remember when I was 16 and I didn't love myself, and I was like, I'm not going to sit back and watch this happen again. Something has to be done. So I just grabbed my phone and I made a video on Instagram about how important it is to love and believe in yourself. And then I started getting loads of messages about how people really appreciated it. And then I just kept making more and more videos, and and then here we are today, like 2 years later.
Yeah. And you've been speaking at UN Women. I mean, you've spoken all around the world to groups of 700 people sometimes.
Yeah.
So this is now becoming who you are. This is your life goal.
Yeah.
Can I ask you why at 16 you didn't have any confidence? The reason I ask you this is because I know that you moved to the UK at 15 from Nigeria.
Yes.
And you moved to a school that was predominantly white?
Yes, all girls boarding school in the countryside.
Do you feel like moving to the UK, where you would face naturally more racism because there are less people who look like you, and the UK is very behind, as many countries in the world are, do you think that had something to do with your confidence taking a dip at 16?
It was more about my body. So that was where, I believed in myself as a person, but I was really insecure about my body. And it did actually get worse when I went to boarding school, just because like, being an African child, like I was round and I had like thighs and like calves and stuff like that. And then when you go to boarding school and everyone is literally just stick thin, it kind of like makes you feel like there's something weird and like
it otherizes you.
Exactly. Yeah. And so when I started like always comparing my body to other people's bodies, that's when my confidence started to get like a really big dip, because it's like, but my body can't be like that. And so I would go on all these weird diets and like try and just exercise loads and just eat very little and
basically try to emulate the body of a thin white woman.
Exactly. But it's just like, I'm not built like that. And so I'm always comparing my body and like, oh, but they have such long legs and like I don't have, and it was just like literally driving me insane. And so for the longest time, it was just like I had such a love-hate relationship with my body. It was really toxic. And it wasn't until I realized that there was more to me than just how much I weigh. And there's more to me than what I look like, and there's so much purpose in me, and I started focusing on that. Like, what do I bring to the world?
What was that moment?
So I read a book called 15 Laws of Growth by John Maxwell, and it spoke to me about how growth is intentional. You don't just wake up one day and you're confident. It doesn't work like that. You actually have to make a decision every single day when you wake up to love and believe in yourself. Some days you'll feel like it and some days you won't, and that's okay. But you actually have to make an active choice to like program your mind for success and for self-belief, and actually start working on yourself. And when I woke up to that, it literally changed my life, because I just thought, oh, when I get older, I'll be grown, it'll be fine. And no, it's not like that. You have to practice being confident. So once I learned about that, I was like, I need to share this message with the world because it's too important. So many people are
especially women of colour, especially Black women are under the most attack. How do you teach people to overcome such like being so bombarded with that messaging?
Yeah, so the first thing is about understanding that your mind is a battlefield of conflicting forces, and it usually works against you, but you can train it to work for you.
How?
So first of all, by understanding your strengths. So when I ask people, tell me what your strengths are, they're like, ooh, strengths. They're looking up at heaven, and it's like, tell me your weaknesses. And it's like, oh my gosh, I'm always late. I'm so bad at this. And it just rolls off your tongue. So now, if you think about what's going on in your mind, like it's like 80% default is just negativity, negativity, negativity. And you forget about the positive and good things about yourself. So the first thing I ask people to do is actually just sit and reflect, like, what are your strengths? What are you good at? What energizes you? And literally, if I sit with someone for 1 hour and just ask a series of like really important questions, I can get a whole list of what their strengths are. And they look at the piece of paper like, I did not know I was good at all of these things.
This is so similar to what we do at I Weigh.
Amazing.
I love how in line we are. It's just about, it's not as specific as what you're doing, but it's more just, who are you on the inside?
Yes,
who are you when someone
exactly.
isn't looking at you? Who will you remember on your deathbed?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
And it's like understanding that your worth is intrinsic. Your worth doesn't depend on what you look like, how much money you have, where you were born.
External opinion.
Exactly. Oh, that one is my favorite. Like, people's opinions of you shouldn't matter more than your opinion of yourself. So if you love and believe in yourself, go for it. Don't wait for other people to validate that. So once you have a better awareness of your strengths, it's something you have to practice it. And then what are the stories you're telling yourself, right? We all tell ourselves all these limiting stories and narratives, and it's like, is that narrative serving you? If you keep telling yourself every single day, I'm not good enough, what if I fail, what if I don't succeed, how does that move your life forward? How does that make you feel confident? There's a connection between your thoughts and your feelings lead to the actions that you take. So if you're thinking negative thoughts, you will feel down and negative, and then you will make bad choices. If you focus on your strengths most of the time, you will feel more motivated and encouraged and positive, and then you will make better choices for yourself.
How do you remember your strengths on a day-to-day basis when you have even not just society, not just social media, but family members sometimes projecting their own insecurities onto you?
It's a choice. Like, you literally, through practice. So obviously when I first started it, my strengths weren't like right in the forefront, but every single day. So you write it down in a journal.
I like writing it down.
Yeah, so literally write it down in a journal and look at it every single day, read it out loud, get used to actually talking about it.
Something really interesting is I started following all of the accounts that my boyfriend follows when it comes to his magazines, and I also started following women's magazines that were, for me, marketed to me.
Yeah.
And the difference between the two, when you can see them lined up against each other, of how interesting the articles that are sent to him, and all these amazing inventions that will make his life easier and better, all these like cool inventions or types of housing or things about sustainability, and I just keep being told what my face shape says about me.
Yeah, exactly.
And I want to fucking scream. And so I think it's great that you're doing what you're doing. What do you think is the biggest challenge that women are coming up against today?
I think it's an internal battle. I think because we all have so many ideas, we have visions, we want to go out and we want to do things, but then that voice just comes in and it's like, what if people laugh at you, or what if you fail? And a lot of women don't actually know how to move past those roadblocks. And so if we can just actually build the like mental resilience and that strength to actually know that, okay, what if, even if they laugh at us, like, so what? Like, who cares? You know, it's like when you start doing something, people will laugh, but you need to keep being consistent and keep going, and then you win. And so it's about helping women understand that, yes, society exists and society might not necessarily be for us, but what is greater, what is inside of you is greater than what is in the world and what society is trying to do to pull you down.
I always feel personally, it's something I talk about a lot, that the win is in trying. Trying is the thing that makes you a hero, because you don't know what the outcome's going to be. I think that's so much braver than doing something that you know is within your comfort zone. And I sometimes think about learning the violin and just how brave the people who learn violins are, because of what shit that sounds like. At the beginning, if anyone out there has ever tried to learn or lived with a person who plays the violin, it sounds like cats being murdered for years. And so I feel like that's the ethic. We need the ethic. We need the work ethic and self-belief of people who learn the violin, where they know.
I love that.
It's going to sound like a cat screaming for ages. And then eventually you will grow and learn, and you just have to pursue and keep practicing. So
absolutely.
That's my takeaway for the day, guys.
One thing I always say is like knowledge and capability are not the same thing, because a lot of women disqualify themselves from stuff in life because they don't know how to do it. But that doesn't mean you're not capable of doing it. You actually just need to try. And when you try, you'll surprise yourself and you just keep going. And yeah, you might be shit, but then you might get better. Like you
might not, and
know.
You can move on to something
else.
else.
Exactly. You don't know where your life can take you. You absolutely have no idea. When I posted my first video on Instagram, I had no idea I would be speaking to women all over the world and going to Oprah Winfrey School in South Africa and like setting up my own events and people paying to come and hear me speak. I didn't think of any of that. I just thought, okay, it's a video, it needs to go out, it's important, and I'm going to speak about this. And then,
And I bet you're still learning as you're going along
100%.
And that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
It's been such a pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah, I've just loved the alignment and the energy. Like, yeah, it's so great.